Good evening and welcome to our school board and board of supervisors joint town hall meeting. As you all know, I think since Mr. Peterson and Ms. Lascalette were here, our two board members, board of supervisors members, since 2012, we've done this every spring and every fall. And it's a great it's worked out well for what, 11 years and 10 or 11, right? 11. Keep twice a year. I know you talk about, Ken always mentions we've done hundreds of these, and it's a great opportunity for us to communicate to you what's going on, and most importantly, to get questions from y'all. I'm John Lumpkins. I'm on the Board of Supervisors, District 3, now District 2 with the redistricting here in the center of the courthouse. Neil Spoonhour, this is District 2 and District 3 meeting. Neil Spoonhour, our chair, represents District 2. There are school board members here. I will let Dr. Rayleigh, our school superintendent, introduce them in a few minutes. There's a lot of county staff here. I'm not gonna go through all those names, but I will do an introduction. Vic Carpenter, our county administrator, is going to speak in a few minutes. I'll hand this over to him in just a couple of minutes. But Crystal Onitis, we want to welcome Crystal. She is our new. Yeah, we're excited to have you. Crystal was last, I think, city manager is what the title is called for cities in the city of Covington, but you're from Henrico area. And we're glad she's our new deputy county administrator. The first day was today, so welcome. This Saturday, past Saturday, we had a memorial service for Don Sharp. And as most of y'all know, Mr. Sharp represented District 4. He passed away on September 21st, and thank you, 17th, Constitution Day. Thank you. Saturday, September 17th, he passed away. And we had a nice memorial service for him. And I think when, as busy as things are, the memorial service was a great time. His family spread around, so they were able to gather. And it was a nice service and a nice memorial for him. And it kind of hits you after a while when you realize, the character that he was and the person we've lost. So, but the state law gives us just 45 days from a vacancy to fill a position. So the Board of Supervisors is is accepting applications. The application window is still open. We're going to meet tomorrow in closed session to review the applications we've received. But November 1st is our next scheduled board meeting, and that turns out to be on the 45th day. So, and it's interesting because this morning, I got a call from landowners in District 4 that were, they've been saying, when Mr. Sharp passed, I told my clients, wait a little while, but they're reaching out now to others. I'm sure other board members have gotten calls and they're like, hey, what do we do next? And I'm telling folks, well, November 1st, you will have a new representative for District 4. In the meantime, of course, we're fielding things and talking to folks, but we certainly miss Mr. Sharp and continue to keep his family in our prayers. With that, I'm going to turn it over to, you weren't ready, were you? As soon as you drift away, I call on you. But this is Vic Carpenter, our county administrator. We're glad to have you here. Now, how long you've been here for 3 months? It seems like 3.5 months. So lots of things happening in Goochland. I know I told Crystal she'll be drinking from a fire hose. I know you've been doing the same, but thank you for they had good meetings. Thursday was the last one, and looking forward to tonight. Thank you all for joining us, and I think you'll tell them that staff is here for questions that if we do a deeper dive into topics. Thank you.
Ms. Lumpkins, thank you very much. Again, I'm Vic Carpenter. I'm your county administrator. Been here for when you have a baby, you go by weeks. So 14 weeks old still, and you have your little benchmarks in life as you watch. Are they walking? Are they stumbling? Are they saying their first words? So I'm still at that stage of memorializing whenever anything special happens to me. And of course, Crystal starting today is a very special thing for us in the community as a county. So welcome, Crystal, again. I'm here tonight, and I'm here to tell you about the wonderful things that your county, Goochland County, is doing, and the team that you have working in your behalf and for you as well, Team Goochland. And it's a great thing. And this is how we tell our story. One of the ways is at town hall meetings such as this. Now we've got 3 of them. This is the second one. We had one last week, and then we'll have one next week. The one next week will be on the eastern side of the county at the Notch, the hotel there. You're certainly welcome to come back after that as well. You probably want to, because we have cookies, and the cookies are made by students at the high school, and they're amazing. So for another reason than coming out for the cookies, encourage you to do so. If the speaker isn't very good, I understand, but the cookies are. So what are we doing in Goochland? Well, Goochland County is taking care of business, and we're going to start by telling you about keeping our communities safe. And that's one of the most important things that a county does, is keep its citizens safe. So starting with our fire and rescue, and you can see there's a lot of things they've been doing, but I'm going to highlight some of the things that we've done this past year that are really, to me, very important. First of all, we had just a little over a week ago our fire prevention week, and we had our first, and I guess it was the first in a long time, if not first in many years, where we had on Saturday, we had the fire prevention day, and it was over here in Goochland Courthouse. We had about 1,000 people come out for that event. That's a lot of people to come out in a county this size. Fire alarms are given away, smoke alarms are given away to people. And this being Fire Prevention Month, it's a very important message to share to your citizens, your neighbors, your friends about their smoke alarms. So please make sure that your smoke alarms are working. Our fire rescue are also training for the future. Right now, we have 15 cadets that are in training courses and programs that when they graduate, they'll be certified, ready to go as either volunteer or career fire services for you. Let me tell you some of the other things that happened last year for fire service. Of course, response times are a critical measure of how you're doing your job. And response times in this part of the county went up. They went down. It was a good up. They went down. And in around the courthouse, we actually increased our ability to respond by 2 seconds from a year ago. And further east from here, when you get over towards Centerville, we went up a good almost 40 seconds faster for an ambulance to get there in that part of the county. Those are the kinds of things that make a difference. 40 seconds is the difference in someone living and dying sometimes. So your emergency service is out there and they're getting better. But in spite of that, and that's in spite of the fact that we had a 15% increase in calls last year. So they had more calls and they still got out there quicker and faster. Well, of course, there's a reason why that happens. One of the biggest reasons, sitting in the back of the room, we have folks from our call center, 911 call center. When that call comes in, they're the ones that take it. They are the first responder when that call comes in. And you'll be seeing and hearing about them a little more in a second. So we're training our firefighters. We're responding better. We're also doing some other things that are pretty important. And we're renovating our buildings. And I'll be talking about that a little bit later as well, and the relationship that this county has with the Fire Rescue Association, the volunteer nonprofit that actually owns most of the fire stations in the county. So that's part of the good story I'm going to tell you later. But now I'm going to move on to the sheriff's office and let Captain Bear tell you about some of the stuff that they've been doing.
Thanks. Just one second. All right. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. I'm Captain Bear, the administrative captain for the sheriff's office. I don't normally use a microphone, but since we have people watching online, I guess it's the easier way to make sure they can hear everything. Real quick, the sheriff wanted to apologize for not being here. He is actually down at a conference with all the other sheriffs across the state, doing some training, some meetings down there, legislative stuff down there. So he is sorry he can't be here. But he did want me to make sure that let everybody know that the facial hair that you see on deputies is not a permanent thing. We normally do No Shave November. This year we increased and did No Shave October as well. October we're doing for the Matthew Smiles Foundation, and related to a gentleman that we had here, juvenile, that ended up taking his own life in a tragic accident. So we're raising money for the Matthew Smiles Foundation. As of right now, we have about $1,400 from the sheriff's office to donate to the family. And then in November, we may or may not continue to No Shave November for some other organization. But after November, rest assured, everybody will be clean shaven, if not before, because if you're not used to having it, it gets pretty annoying pretty quick. So a couple things. Biggest thing is the sheriff's office app. So if you don't have the app, if you have a smartphone and you don't have the app yet, there is a table banner outside in the lobby that has QR codes for both Android and iOS Apple systems. So if you want to scan that real quick and you can download the app, On the app, you'll get updates, notifications for any road closures, any big events going on in the county that you might need to avoid or try to avoid if possible, as well as community events are listed on there, dates and times of the events, stuff like that. One of the other things that's on the app is the Vacation Watch. If you're not familiar with that, Vacation Watch is a program that Sheriff started. So if you were leaving to go out of town for any length of time, you can go on the app or onto the website. You can fill out an application for Vacation Watch. You list all your information, it's a step form that you fill out. And then while you're gone, deputies, as time allows, will actually go to your property, walk around your house, check your doors, check your windows, make sure everything's in place. And everything seems to be in order. If anything is out of the ordinary, then they will call you and try to figure out if that's something that was like that when you left. And if not, then we'll look into it and figure out what's going on. Business Watch is pretty much the same program, just for businesses in the county. That's kind of up and going. So upcoming events, just real quick, cops, costumes and candy. It's the sheriff's office drive-through trunk or treat, basically. We're going to do that again this year. It's at the sheriff's office, and that'll be Sunday, October 30th. You can go online or on the app. You can find the times for all the events. Kids Fishing Day next year is the date's already established for that. So you can see that date online as well. And then any other dates that we put out for any other programs. We did a car show in the fall a couple months ago. It was really good, had a good turnout. So we're going to do that again. We may even push it up and do like a springtime event. So just keep your eyes open for that. And then the other thing is the Citizens Academy. So if you have never had a chance to attend the Citizens Academy, we encourage you to do so. It's 11 weeks and you get to learn a little bit about everything that the sheriff's office does. So if you haven't had a chance to attend that, please go online, keep an eye out on the app or on Facebook and watch for those dates. They will be starting last week of February, I believe. So just keep an eye out for the applications for that, and you can submit an application for that, and hopefully we'll see you there for that. Other than that, myself and Chief Deputy Major Mike East will be here until the end. So if you do have any questions, I won't take up a whole lot of time from Mr. Carpenter, but if you do have any questions, please grab us and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain Bear. You know, I understand that for the Halloween trunk or treat that they got together on the side this year, they're all going as deputies. So another part of your public safety is your animal control and your animal shelter staff. You know, Goochland County is a community that is very passionate about its animals, and our animal shelter is a great example of that relationship. It's also a great example of something that is, I tell you, very unique to Goochland County, and that is the public-private partnerships that we have in this community. Goochland Pet Lovers, a GPL, is an organization that came together, I understand, back about 5-6 years ago, in order to help carry out the vision, the dream of a former county administrator, Ms. Becky Dixon, who had a vision for what this county could provide its animals and its pets. And out of that, the fundraising from Goochland Pet Lovers resulted in us being able to not just build the county's portion of the animal shelter, but also the adoption side as well. Hopefully you've had a chance to go in there and see part of it, but it's not just an animal shelter, it's also animal control. And that's a critical part of what we do in this county as well, is we've got to protect our citizens and take care of things when it happens. Last week or so, we had a rabid raccoon. And it actually started becoming something potentially serious as it bit other animals. Some of those animals bit some people. If they had not managed that very quickly, efficiently, and safely, it could have turned into something very serious. But it didn't, because they were there. They were quickly able to find the raccoon. They were quickly able to determine that it was, in fact, rabid and take all the proper protocols that you're supposed to do. So again, that kind of service that you're getting is example of the amazing kind of people that we have here, but also look at the cute kittens and puppies that are there. So, you know, they're open, basically from Tuesday through Saturdays. The hours change a little bit, but encourage you, if you haven't gone by, just go by. It's an amazing facility. It's amazing testimony to what this community does when it puts its heart and its mind to something. So moving on, we've also invested in our facilities to serve you. That's another one of the great things you'll see in Goochland County. And let me give you some updates of some of the projects that you're seeing or you will be seeing soon. Locally, really right around here, in fact, the sports complex, the lighting. The lighting on the sports complex is being upgraded right now, happening October, November. It's going to be all new poles, all new wires, all new lights. It'll be able to be controlled off your phone app. Everything has gone to a phone app, as you're hearing with the sheriff's office, and we'll be talking about more later from the county. So they'll be able to control these lights. These are state-of-the-art Musco lights, and these lights are dark sky compliant. And what that means is that you'll see the lights around the stadium, but the bleed over is almost non-existent. You can be 100 yards away and it's black around you. You know, you go under the lights and it's bright, illuminated, very safe for the players. So that's one of the examples that we're doing. Another thing is the skate park. You know, the skate park is also behind here. And that was, again, a public-private partnership where people wanted to invest and make a difference. So fundraising began. Phase 1 is now underway. The park is closed. It'll be closed for another 3 weeks while phase 1 is completed. And the whole front part will be concrete and metal when they're done. The kind of surfaces, not wood, things that'll splinter and break and cause harm to someone, but solid surfaces. So that's another example, again, of a public-private partnership working together in Goochland County. The Central High School, the generators, if you've had reason or need to go there, of course, that's a great complex. It's a facility where we have, again, several public sector entities there, plus our parks and rec programs. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But putting the generators in allows us now to make that a shelter. So if we have another case where ice storms or tornadoes and people have no power, we'll be able to open that as a shelter going forward. So it can then give us that level of security that we need to know we got somewhere to go. You know, ice comes in, it's 12 degrees, you got no power. What are you going to do? Now we got a place there that you'll be able to go and see. I mentioned earlier about the fire stations. And again, most of the fire stations in Goochland County are owned by not the county, but by the private association that has provided fire service for so many years to this community. And they're currently upgrading 5 of the stations. We're in different stages of them. 2 of them are very visible and noticeable. Station 1 over in Crozier, no, not Crozier, Mannequin, sorry, I still trip up a little bit. Station 1 and Station 4 over in Fife are seeing some significant exterior work. So if you drove by those, you would have noticed, you know, Station 5 looked like a bomb had gone off because the whole front of the building was removed and a new front was put in and extended out. So our new equipment and apparatus would fit in there. Station here in the courthouse area is under planning right now for interior renovations that'll make it more usable and feasible for sleeping. And that's one of the things we're having to do is just upgrade these facilities so that they can better provide sleeping accommodations that are safe and healthy to the professionals that are working in there. So all 5 of those stations are currently under some kind of construction projects that are being done to them. And again, that's a partnership between the county and the citizens who are the volunteers and working for this community as volunteers making a difference. Well, moving on from there, then we move into the opportunities of broadband. And broadband in Goochland County is something that goes back about, I guess, about 3 years or so when it was announced that the federal government was going to start making a major effort to provide support to broadband in our state and our country. Western and Central Goochland were part of a 13-county grant. $80 million was awarded for that grant in order to bring broadband fiber, and Firefly is the kind of the broad name of the association, and it's mostly electric providers. So CVEC, Dominion, and various co-ops across the state and the region have banded together to provide us. So what's happened? Well, in the last year, over 110 miles of fiber has been buried in Goochland County. Now, just burying the fiber doesn't get it to your house, but until it's buried, you can't get it to your house. So 110 miles has been buried in the county. Already over 1,250 homes and businesses are now where they can hook up if they want to in the county that were not there 2-3 years ago. So progress is being made in that. We're told that it's about another 2 years or so. It should be done in the end of 2024 into 2025 at the latest. Goochland County has been a big part of that. Your county has contributed $3.6 million to help make this happen as well. So the county is part of what's happening and the commitment to the citizens to ensure. And, you know, I'm moving here. So I'm moving to part of the county that doesn't have it. So personally, I see the importance of that. I've got 3 kids in their middle 20s, and they've told me until they have broadband, you know, they're going to stay at the hotel when they come. So broadband is a critical part of where we're going, and the county has made a significant commitment of financial resources, and our partners with Dominion and CVEC and others are working together as well. What other kind of things are we doing? Well, let's talk about opportunities. The opportunities, there's the maps for that. The opportunities that we're providing to the county for economic development. And economic development in Goochland County takes a variety of formats. Economic development could be a big industry looking to come in and provide jobs, or it could be a restaurant, or it could be a service provider or a doctor's office, because it's critical for our citizens to be able to get the services they need and not have to drive as far. We're fortunate that we've got a very vibrant program going on. I'm going to tell you about some of the things that we're doing. We're starting off, first of all, with recently completed projects. Over in the eastern part of the county, you may have had the opportunity to see the Greenswell Growers. Greenswell Growers is an indoor hydroponic facility, one of the few on the East Coast growing leafy greens, lettuce. They've opened up in the last year, and they've already sold out their entire product line. It's sold. They have no more to sell. It's already been sold to the grocery stores. So now they're looking to expand. If you've had a chance to see it, it's an indoor facility. It's automated. It's high tech. It's state of the art. No pollution. They don't use chemicals. It's just the neat kind of thing, kind of industry that kind of makes you feel good when you see it. It doesn't have a heavy footprint on our county, but it makes a big difference when they do come in. We also have W.T. Curtis has opened a new facility. They're a local HVAC contractor building a new office for themselves and their employees. Our Courthouse Creek Cidery has expanded. Advanced auto parts. That's something you may not think is economic development until you need to get something like that. And then you realize how critical it is we have something like that close to us. The Broad Mills medical offices, again, having doctors' offices that are reasonably located so we can get to them is important to a community. And Dollar General in Haydensville just recently opened as well. Citizens up there, there are a lot of them that look for that, the need for that. They have fresh foods and limited items, but they have it's a small little grocery store. Other things that are nearing completion, Avery Point on the eastern part of the county. Avery Point is going to be a large 55+ continuing care facility. The kind of facility that as you age, you can age in place. You can get a nice apartment, a nice house, and then slowly go through as your health and circumstances allow. It's going to be huge when it's done. It's going to be about 11 buildings. Right now, they're working on the first 5, and they hope to have those open starting in November is when it looks like they might be getting open. They're still in some of the final stages of construction. Also, Tommy's Car Wash and Valvoline. Again, automotive pretty important to people in a community such as Goochland. Currently underway is another medical office center, the Creekmore, the Oak Hill Complex, or retail and offices for us. Bristol Oaks Apartments over in the eastern part of the county. The Veterinary Emergency and Specialty Center, and Richmond Machinery. So these are examples of, again, businesses that are being located and built in Goochland County, provide services and jobs for our citizens. Under review, another office, a medical office building, a Chick-fil-A. That's always one of the first questions people say is like, when are we going to get a Chick-fil-A? We're getting a Chick-fil-A. Okay. Publix and Target, some people want that. I can't tell if we'll ever have one of those, but we're getting a Chick-fil-A. And that is a big thing for us. Indoor tennis facility in Centerville. Tennis has become a growing industry. We've got several others of those looking at this county to build facilities here. And then HG Meats. HG Meats is a facility that's looking to locate up in the Haydensville area of the county, a small meat processor for local growers, people who are in Goochland County, our area, who raise cattle, who raise pigs. Right now, if you do that, you got to ship it who knows how far, many hours away in some cases. You might have a 6-8 month wait before you can even send your animals there. So this is going to open up one in our county, very small scale, not one of those big, huge things you see elsewhere. It's going to be limited in size, but it's going to serve a need that we critically have in this county. Of course, Project Rocky. We've probably, if you haven't heard of Project Rocky, then you just moved here. So Project Rocky is going to be a very large development. It's a $500+ million investment for an e-commerce fulfillment center, about 1,000 jobs. A lot of those jobs will go to residents of Goochland County. A lot of them will come in and they'll drive. So one of the things that is being done is we're working on the transportation infrastructure to service that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute or two. But the impact Project Rocky is going to have is located up on Ashland Road, north of I-64 in the industrial section of this county. So you got quarries, you got landfills, you've got mines all around it already. You got an interstate right there. It's just a very short distance from the interstate. So that's the perfect place for facilities such as this. so that's the, that's our today. That's, trying to make sure that we have jobs and that we have a growing community economy, but now we got a plan for tomorrow. And so I'm going to tell you what we've been doing with that. And that's a very important topic in a county such as this. One of the things, of course, is our village plans. And we have 2 village plans, or small area plans, we're really calling them, because a village kind of brings to mind certain things. And some cases, Gooch Courthouse is considered a village. Centerville may or may not be, but they're all part of the small area plans that the county is engaged in. So tell you where we are with that right now. We started the process back in February with kickoff meetings for the community, opportunity for citizens to come, listen, and start giving us input. For March, we then started roundtable meetings with stakeholders, with businesses, with nonprofits, with entities, churches, anybody who had reason to have an interest in the process, the plan itself. April to June, we started doing surveys, and you can see we got over 400 surveys of people, of citizens, telling us in deeper detail what they wanted, what their thoughts were, what they're looking for. June and July, then we had our midway community meetings. So we started revealing some of the findings that we'd had from all of those surveys and those discussions that we'd had. So now where are we going now? Well, the board wants to make sure that we do this right. So originally we talked about maybe being done in the winter, but now we're looking to extend it to late winter into the spring even. So next steps are that we're going to have a draft plan that'll be available and released toward the end of November. That draft plan is something that the citizens will be able to look at and start drawing their conclusions about where we are about the halfway point. From there, we're then going to have community meetings again. The draft plan will be available. People have had it. They can start giving feedback once more on what they're seeing, what they like, what they don't like. So we can continue forward with that at community meetings. So it'll be 2, one here and then one over in the Centerville area as well. And those at the end of November is when those are looking to be held after Thanksgiving. So we'll look to have those. Then once we get that input, then there's going to be a joint work session with the Board of Supervisors and the Planning Commission. And that's a chance for them to talk. They've been listening to you guys now for almost a year. So that gives them a chance to sit down and start talking amongst themselves over what they see, what they hear, and their thoughts on the matter. Going from there, then we'll have public hearings with the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. And after that, then it'll move forward to a process, or the board will decide, whatever they're going to decide. So we're going to have numerous public meetings still ahead of us. We've got opportunities for input. We're going to do this right. And we're going to make sure that we've got the input we need from the citizens, and any decision that we make is going to be based on collecting all the data. So it's not going to be a rushed or hurried process. So what else are we doing? Well, our community development, planning and zoning, building permits, as you can imagine, that is a busy organization right now, and they have been busy. So even though we start to hear that the economy is maybe starting to slow down, it's not slowing down in our building and codes and our permitting section, because all these things that I just went over for you, all the building that's happening, well, those guys taking part in it. So one of the things that we're looking to do is we're rolling out a new software system called EnerGov. And the reason why I'm telling you and talking to you about that is it's going to totally change the way business is done in the building community in Gooch County. And it's going to go all virtual, all online. Right now, it's pretty much a paper and pencil process. You'll be able to pay everything online. So if you don't have the time or the ability to run to you'll be able to go online to make any payments you have to do. But as or more importantly is the fact that now citizens will be able to log into this through portals and see the status of every single project. Because right now, that's what citizens want to know. They just want to know what's going on. And if you go online, you'll see people asking, what's happening here? What's happening there? Well, EnerGov will let our citizens now see it, and they can track a project. They can see where it is in the process. They can see what's been turned in, what hasn't been turned in. So it's a good opportunity for transparency to make sure that, again, what we do in the light of day. And you, our citizens, know what's happening as well, because it's your county. And you need to know, and you need to see these kinds of things. So EnerGov is something we're very excited about what we're doing. We're going to be going live on the 15th of November. Any of y'all who've ever been involved in any kind of where the words go live, I will tell you right now that we have been planning for this. We have been training for this for a while. But I would still say, please have some grace, because you never know what might happen. We are doing everything we can. We believe that it'll roll out smoothly, but if there are glitches, if there are bugs, we'll fix them. And that's our commitment but what it's going to do for our employees is huge. And what it's going to do for our citizens' ability to understand what's happening is huge. And for the development community is huge. So it's a big thing for us. And we're proud of that. Well, now let's get into transportation, roads. I was telling someone a little bit ago, kind of joking that I've been here now for, 3.5 months. So that makes me native. So I can complain about the transportation and the traffic problems like everybody else. But there's a lot of projects going on right now, and I'm going to tell you about them. One of them, of course, you see it right now. That's right here. It's a roundabout being built over at Fairgrounds and Sandy Hook Road. And that started. It's going to go on for about another year or so before they're completed with it. It's about an 18-month project in total. The good news is at no point in time will 522 close. It'll stay open the entire time. Fairgrounds Road will probably close for about a month in February. And so, there's around, the workarounds for it are fairly simple. You'll just either go by the college and get on Route 6 there, or you'll go and get on Bulldog Way by the high school and get on Route 6 there, based on what side you're coming from is how you would get on to it if you need to. Fire and rescue with Station 5 there, they're working with the Food Line Shopping Center to allow them to kind of cut through the parking lot. I know a lot of citizens probably will, but that's not necessarily the safest way to do it. But for our guys, it's going to be set up so they can do that. So the roundabout is underway right now. Another thing is a corridor study we're doing on Fairgrounds Road. And part of the development concerns that we've heard recently in this area are that as we begin developing and redeveloping and adding more communities and neighborhoods, what is that doing to Fairgrounds Road as a main corridor? And so VDOT is doing a traffic study, a corridor study of the entire road from 250 all the way down to 522, and studying the impacts and the future needs and the future expectations. That'll be done in December. Once we have that, that's another one of the reasons why it's important that we slow down a little bit on the courthouse study, because that's a pretty important part of that study is knowing what the traffic needs and the impacts of traffic are going to be in this area. So the Fairgrounds Road corridor study is something that's a very big piece of the future and where we're going, because we haven't had that. And this will be the first time we'll have some of that information. Well, now we get into the Route 288 interchange study. And Route 288 on the eastern side of the county, currently it has, 4 exits in Goochland County. But for many years, there was always discussion of a future interchange and what this interchange would do. Let me see. I guess I have to. Well, all right. Well, nope, that didn't work. So if you look at the map right there where it says Wilkes Ridge Parkway, it's a study right now just to see whether it makes sense at some point in the future, 10, 20, 30 years, to have another interchange built. And it would go from 288 tied to Wilkes Ridge Road up into Broad Street. And it would be a major ability to divert traffic that currently clogs up the 288, 250 interchange, as well as people coming and going from work in Henrico, in Hanover, from Midlothian coming up here. So this study is underway, and it's something that'll give us ideas, again, for the future, 10, 20, 30 years from now. The Oroville Road Highway 64 roundabout. That's another one that's partially funded. We're working on getting it completed. We'd like to think that that's one that we can start, hopefully, the engineering in the next year to 2 years on that. Again, it's not it's the westbound side of the interstate when you get off at Oroville exit, and it would put a roundabout in there as well. So that's one that's going to happen because we know we've got most of the funding already secured for it. The Ashton Road Divergent Diamond. When I was talking about Project Rocky, I said I was going to come back to the traffic there. If you've been on Ashton Road, and you probably have, it's already a mess. Okay. In fact, I think the term that VDOT uses is it's failing. And we all know that. It's a failing road, it's a failing intersection. So the commitment of the county and working with Project Rocky is to ensure that the problems that are identified will be fixed. And we've committed to fixing those problems. And there's a couple things that are going to happen there. First thing is Project Rocky is going to put in double turn lanes that lead into their project so they can get their traffic out of the through traffic. They'll be using Ashton Road. There's also going to be an acceleration lane coming off the interstate so that people can pull off the interstate easier. Importantly, there's going to be a stoplight put on the south side of it so that as traffic exits coming from the west, there'll be a stoplight now to allow you to pull into traffic. Right now, that's not there. And if you've had to get off, then you know that sometimes you can sit there for quite a while. So that stoplight will make a big difference in what's going to happen. But the big change that's got to happen is the DDI, the Divergent Diamond. If you've been to Zion's Crossroads, you've seen a 4-lane DDI. And that's what we're going to be building. We're going to be building a 4-lane DDI The chairman went to Richmond and brought back a lot of money. Got commitments from our regional partners in Hanover, in Henrico, well, not in Hanover, but in Henrico and others, the city of Richmond, that supported our effort, and they're still supporting what we need to do. So we will be building this DDI. That's the commitment of the county, that we will build it. The state will support us, and that will be put in. It takes a couple of years though for something like that to happen. The engineering, the design, the land acquisition, the right-of-way acquisition. It's not a short-term project to do. And it's a major project. It'd be the biggest road project probably ever done in Goochland County, but it will make the difference. So the commitment to this community is that Project Rocky will bring with it success, because it will bring with us the ability to finally fix a road that was already failing. And if without Rocky, we would not have the ability to fix that road, and it would stay failing, because there's no way to pay for it any other way. So they bring to us some good stuff. Another part, it's not part of this project, but it's the same area, is VDOT is relocating the park and ride also at Ashland Road intersection. So if you use it or know people who do, they're going to be building a new one. That's not connected to Rocky, but it is in the same area. The Hockett Road realignment, if you're familiar with Hockett Road, it currently takes you up to 250 in St. Paul's Church, and then you got to jog over and then get on Ashland Road to get to the interstate. So you got that weird little jog that takes you from one to the other. The realignment will connect Hockett to Ashland Road. So essentially you would be able to go from Route 6 all the way to the interstate without having to go through those weird little jogs that were causing accidents and were dangerous to people. So you can see the bottom of that picture, that would kind of show just a new realignment to Hockett Road. We're going to start the engineering on that next year, with the goal of, again, it being completed sometime in the next few years after that. So those are, the infrastructure, the hard stuff that we do, but Goochland County has fun. We do a lot of great things in this county. I'm going to tell you about some of those things that we're doing right now, and we're going to be doing. Parks and Rec, we started our Night at Tucker. And Night at Tucker, we started, and we did it in August, our first one. And it had over 400 people show up, local bands, food trucks, local organizations out there, people with their dogs, people with kids. It was just a neat night that was out there. We were supposed to do in September, but it got rained out. So we were supposed to do in October, but we got rained out. So now we're going to do it in November. And the schedule for doing it is going to be November the 4th. Again, local bands, food trucks, come on out. It's just a great evening at a beautiful park and facility as well. We just did, Captain Bear was mentioning when he was up here, just this past weekend, we did a color run, and the color run was in support of the Matthews Miles Foundation. And it was a very emotional event because it's a very emotional topic, and the family was there, and we had about 50 people participate in this first one. And it's an example of the kind of stuff, again, that we do as a community to make a difference, and your county does for you. Also coming up, we have the Goochland Fall Festival. You heard that mentioned a little bit, October 29th. The Fall Festival will be again right behind here in the sports complex. It's a family-friendly event. Bring your kids out from 12 to 4. It'll be, just fun stuff, pumpkins and trick-or-treating and music and stuff like that. So that's going to be the Fall Festival on October 29th. Coming up, our second annual, what we call Kame Fest. And Kame Fest is a modern pop cultural festival. If you, comic books, anime, movies, board games, it's geared to a part of the community. We did our first one last year. We had hundreds of people come out, and they have costume contests. So again, I got kids in their 20s, and for them, this is all stuff that for them is very much part of their culture, part of their life. And so this kind of things we do, and it is fun. Encourage you to come out and see it. I've got somewhere a picture. I went to one last year of me being taking a picture with a giant Pikachu. So, it's you never know what you're going to see at one of these. And it's a neat example of realizing that that our community from young to old has got different wants and different interests, and us providing for it. Pickleball. I don't know how many of you play pickleball, but again, we've been doing our pickleball tournament for 6 years now. And the pickleball tournament is coming up November 5th. It's going to be over at the high school gym. There's a $15 fee to participate. It's just fun. Pickleball is a neat sport, and we're getting more and more engaged to it. It's the anybody can play, but it's very popular with people of a certain age set, shall we say, whose knees maybe aren't quite as good as they used to be. So it's a fun sport for everyone to do, but I encourage you to be part of that. and to see. We also, though, I keep talking about the volunteer and the public-private partnerships, and Parks and Rec's a great example. Most of our youth leagues are run by private organizations. So our baseball, our softball, our cheerleading, we're starting lacrosse this year for that, football. These are all sports that the county doesn't run. Private nonprofit groups run these and provide these opportunities for our kids. Gucci United Soccer is a spring and fall soccer league for our kids. So again, great examples of things you'll see. Rec basketball is something the county does run. We've got over 175 youth and over 100 adults participating in the basketball. So neat things, fun things that we do in the community. So I've been talking about all the stuff that this county, your team does to make this county as great as it can be. We got a job too as citizens, and that's the elections coming up. So I just want to remind you what our job is. Our job for the election is this. November 8th is election day. Early voting has already started. It's right behind here, again, in the sports center, right next door to the registrar's office. You'll be able to vote there all the way up until just before election day, and then election day, of course, all the precincts will open. The last day to request an absentee ballot is going to be the 28th of October. Now, if you are been here for a while and you know your precincts, please make sure that you know your current precincts, because with redistricting and with the census, precinct lines have shifted in some cases. So we've got a list here. There's information at the back as well that you can get to see to make sure that you know where your precincts are. But some of the changes, Bird School is now the new location for 101. Chief Cornerstone Baptist is the new location for 201. Central High School is a location for 202. Here in the courthouse area, locations would be over at the animal shelter is one of the locations for them. And I guess and the fire station chief is another one. Randolph, thank you. Okay, thank you. It's right there in front of me. If I would just look at it, I'd see it. Please make sure that you know where your precincts are, so you don't go to the wrong place. And please encourage everybody over the age 18, they can still register to vote, and encourage them to come out and take part of that. Also, one last thing, it's important for us, the county, to know how we can communicate with you. This is just one of the ways we communicate. The county communicates with you through our social media. We communicate through newspaper. We communicate through media. There's an engagement survey that we asked you. There's information in the back again. You can use your phone. It's got a QR code, or you can go online and fill it out. It's just a survey to tell the county how you like to be communicated with, the kinds of ways you get information, so we can do a better job to make sure that you're getting the information you want and you need. So please, if you do, take a chance to fill it out. We just went live with it. We've already got, I think, almost 100 people have already signed up and participated in the survey. So please do, so we can get a better understanding of what's important to you, our citizens. And with that, I just want to thank you. And are there any questions that anybody has, myself or staff, on Goshen County? Cookies, remember. Good cookies. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. That will be a county and chief of you, but that will be a county-owned facility, like Hayden's, like Station 6 is. So at that point, the county will own 2 stations. And I can't tell you going forward what's going to happen, with the rest of the stations. At some point, it gets awful expensive to own buildings. And, so the reality is, we all know. So right now, the Volunteer Association is doing an amazing job to take care of them and keep up with them. But the county is more and more moving into owning fire stations. We'll see no questions then, Dr. Rayleigh. I will turn it over to you. I'm sorry, actually.
That's okay. Thank you, sir. Good evening. My name is Karen Horn. I am a school board member. Love my work. I live in an area that changed when the district changed. So I was elected to District 3. And when we go to polls in 23, I will be District 2. This evening, also, Angela Allen is here, and she lives in District 2, but her new district will be 3. So there was a little flip-flop. Since 2016, we have had 3 United States presidents, 3 Virginia state governors, 3 superintendents of public instruction, multiple congressmen, House of Delegates, senators at the state and federal level. But guess what? We've had 1 superintendent of Goochland County Public Schools. This evening, you will hear from Dr. Jeremy Raley, super special man who leads a super special team, and they stay focused on our why. And that is our true motivation every single day. And I will let him share more about that and the great things that that team is doing for our whole community, especially our children. Dr. Raley.
Thank you, Ms. Horn. Ms. Allen, would you like to share any remarks before we get started? Okay, all right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome. A lot of familiar faces in the audience tonight. But I do want to welcome our new Deputy County Administrator. I think what you'll find in Goochland is a pretty special place. And we don't say that lightly because there's a lot of symbolism about what's happening in this room tonight. It could just be the county's going to have their town hall and schools are going to have their town hall, but we do it together. And it's been happening like that for many, many years in this community. And it's really something special. So I'm thankful to be able to serve in this community, now entering my 7th year as superintendent. And I'm here tonight to share some of the positives that's happening in our school division because I get the pleasure, and it truly is a pleasure to go in our schools and be a part of what is happening every day in this amazing school division. Our citizens don't get the chance to do that. So I'm hoping to provide just a little bit of a glimpse into what's happening in our school division on a regular basis, share some celebrations with you, because ultimately this community invests a lot of money in public education. This community values public education greatly. And so I will tell you that what this community invests in us is certainly providing a significant positive return on its investment. So we are now entering the 2nd quarter of our academic year, and we are off to an extremely strong start. I'll tell you, there are a lot of lessons learned from the past. All of that is behind us now. And I'll tell you, we are humming along, entering the 2nd quarter. Like I said, and a lot of great things have happened, and we're poised and ready to continue a strong start. One of the things I wanted to share with you initially are a few accomplishments, and the first being the fact that most recently we are recognized for our use of technology to support instruction in our classrooms. And I want to highlight this because this community invests a whole lot of money in the technology that our students and staff use on a regular basis. Devices are expensive. And I will tell you that the use of technology in our school division is not just something that we put students on and they work independently and you're over there all by yourself. It's fully integrated into what we do. And we've been recognized for that technology integration through Apple. There are only 700 schools worldwide who have been designated as an Apple Distinguished School. All 5 of Goochland County Public Schools have received that recognition, certainly an elite recognition and something that we're very proud of. This is recent as well. And so not for the 1st year or the 2nd year, but now for 5 years in a row, niche.com, which is a place where a lot of folks go when they're considering what services they want, whether it's higher education, public education, a variety of services. It's a place where you go to do a little research. And so our work has been recognized by Niche as certainly being the best public school division in the region, second best teachers in the region. I do challenge that one just a little bit. But anyway, a lot of prowess and success when it comes to what we're doing in our public schools. And so really proud of what that means for us as well. And so we're getting national recognition, we're getting statewide recognition, and this is another nationally recognized program that we have. And so you may not know that we have students with disabilities in our public schools who are competing as Goochland Bulldogs alongside their non-disabled peers in what we call our unified sports program. So the national chapter of the Special Olympics has recognized Goochland High School for what we're doing to provide opportunities for students. And I shared this on Thursday night, and it's really amazing when you see our students with disabilities and their non-disabled peers competing together in bowling, bocce, kickball, basketball. And it's really, really amazing. You know, for some of these students, they would not ever have the opportunity to make a JV or varsity athletic team. but they are wearing the Bulldog uniform. They are competing just like everybody else. And they're certainly a proud member of the athletic teams and thankful for the opportunities we're able to provide there. As I mentioned before, this community invests a lot of money in public education. And we take our responsibility extremely strong. It's something that we do not ever take lightly. And we are entrusted with precious taxpayer dollars. Our residents go to work every day. They wake up, they go to work, and they toil, and they work hard for everything that they get. And so certainly we want to make sure that we're managing our taxpayer dollars wisely. We've been recognized by the Government Finance Officers Association for our strong fiscal stewardship, most specifically the Distinguished Budget Award. And we've received that several times over the course of the past several years. And again, it's an example of the well-rounded work that our school division is doing to support our community. But how are we performing on metrics that most everybody knows, and how are we doing in comparison to other school divisions in this Commonwealth? And so in Virginia, schools are either accredited with warning, conditionally accredited. There's a variety of different ways that you can rate how well a school division is doing on academic measures. And so Goochland's now one of 10 school divisions for many years now that have been fully accredited. And so we are among elite company in a lot of ways. The recognitions I previously referenced, but also when it comes to measurements of achievement on the standards of learning assessments, we're up there in the top 10%, and certainly very proud of what we're doing on an academic measure. I'm competitive, so I want to know how we're doing not only statewide, but what about our bordering neighbors to the north, south, east, and west? And you can see that we're again getting very strong results when it comes to all content areas with high ratings compared to everybody else in the region. So very proud of what we're doing on an achievement measure. And then when you look at it on a statewide measure, we are exceeding state averages on all content area tests. And I will say that we are not ever complacent. There are continued opportunities for us to grow. Not everything is rainbow, sunshine, and unicorns. Okay. We're doing extremely well in a lot of ways, but we have some growth opportunities too. We have some areas where we need to look inside and see what we can do to make some improvements. And so we're going to continue to be strong in areas, but we have some areas where we need to work a little bit harder too. But all in all, we're exceeding state averages in all content areas. And this is a measurement that is extremely, gets a lot of attention as well. And that's the percentage of students that are graduating on time. Walk in as a freshman, 4 years later, you're walking out of there with a high school diploma. And our rates exceed the state averages. Again, I think the statewide average is 92%. So we're blowing the state average out of the water at 97%. Ultimately, our goal is to get to 100. And I'm in Rotary, and sometimes Rotary says we're that close to solving polio. We're that close to getting 100% of our graduates across the stage on time. It's about 1 or 2 students. And sometimes, just in transparency, these students leave our school division, go elsewhere, and we don't know where they go. And that's held against us on a reporting standpoint. So ultimately, we're just a few students away. We want to get to 100, but we're really proud of the fact that we're exceeding the state average. So let's talk a little bit about, that was all past. Where are we now, and what does this new year look like? And I will tell you, we're committed this year, and the theme of our school division is taking this already strong school division, because we're strong in so many ways, and it's not just the numbers, but it's the experiences that students are having. How can we make our strong school division even stronger? And so we're committed to doing that, because we never want to be complacent. We always want to be relevant and current, and make sure that we're always pushing ourselves to strive harder and maximize the potential of all of our students. So just a glimpse into some of the things that you'll see if you were to ever visit our schools. We have some strong programs, and it's not just extracurricular activities, it's co-curricular activities. Strong volleyball team. Our football team is now on a 3-game win streak. You probably heard the cannon go off a whole lot on Friday night. So we beat Monticello 42-14 on a homecoming win. It was really a special night. So football team is doing well on a 3-game win streak. Lots of other fall activities that our students are involved in, from cross country to cheerleading to golf. And here's a picture of our unified sports team, and really proud of our Bulldogs who are competing in the unified sports program. And then we have an amazing band. And one of the takeaways I had from homecoming Friday night was not the win. It wasn't the dance. It was the fact that in that environment on a Friday night, You had students that were involved in the student section cheering on their peers. You had members of the flag squad, musicians, football players, cheerleaders, cadets in the Marine Corps Junior ROTC program. You had athletic trainers. You had student volunteers. You had so many different students that were participating in just that one event. So there's a passion for everybody, and we're providing opportunities for those students to follow their passion. So band is just one of those many examples. We'll pause here for a moment and talk about career and technical education. This community has made a significant investment in CTE. We've been statewide, recognized on a statewide basis and on a national basis for what we're doing in CTE. And we continue to try to evaluate what's next. What does the market need? What are we doing well to prepare our students for the future after they leave Goochland High School? We fully recognize that we're going to have a lot of students go into a 2-year school or a 4-year school, but we have students who want to enter directly into the workforce. And what are we doing to prepare them to be gainfully employed? We have a multitude of programs, from programming, coding, using virtual reality to support instruction. We all know that we have the best heavy equipment program in the Commonwealth. We're doing a lot of great things when it comes to preparing this next generation for success when it comes to their future workforce. Most notably, we have a Spanish in the workforce class that we just got off the ground this year, and we have our students who are learning vocabulary that's relevant to the workforce and what they can do to lead a future crew of workers. And we had some things happen just last week across the road here that was really, really positive. So again, continually trying to be relevant and current, and make sure that we're preparing our students for whatever may be next down the road. We fully recognize that we are just one part of the many pieces and parts that are moving in this community on a daily basis. I'm thankful for the partnerships that we have, not only with my colleagues and peers in county government, but the relationships that we have with first responders, fire and rescue, law enforcement, and many other community agencies. And so, as we know, there have been some tragic events in public schools over the course of the past several years, most notably what happened in Texas recently in the spring. And so we certainly are not going to be complacent when it comes to safety and security. We have spent extensive hours working together with Eddie Ferguson and his team, Sheriff Precy and his team, training when it comes to supporting our administrators, looking at what we're doing from a physical facility standpoint, processes and protocols. You may or may not know that we had wasn't a live fire event, there weren't live rounds, but there was a simulated event at the high school with law enforcement and fire and rescue, where we were looking at our crisis plans. A lot of great work is happening behind the scenes to protect our students, our staff, and our visitors while they're on site, and thankful for the strong partnership and relationship that we have. We have a great partnership with the YMCA, partnership that resulted in students getting free dental care through Virginia Family Dentistry. So again, recognizing just the part that we play in this organic system that we're all living in. And then we are participants in the 9/11 ceremonies. We're going to support a Veterans Day assembly in November, and would encourage everyone to be a part of that. It's going to be at the high school, and would love to have our citizens and community be there. But I love this picture because it shows the strength of these cadets and the experiences and opportunities that we're giving them to honor and recognize what has happened in our past. And certainly they're a part of that, because education is not always what happens in the four walls of that classroom. It goes beyond. And here's an example of one of these experiences for students. And then we have a really amazing partnership with one of our teachers and veterans in our community, where our students are partnered with veterans who have served our community and our nation very, very well and admirably. And so our students have been paired with veterans. They have interviewed them, getting to know their story, learn more about their experiences and what they've done to make a sacrifice for this nation. Our veterans have been a part of the coin toss on Friday night football games, on the sideline. And then these same students are going to go with our veterans to Washington, D.C. in the spring of the year and build that relationship further as they visit some of the memorials up there in D.C. And hopefully we can have a culminating event too. But this is where we're developing young men and women who are learning more about life than just how to read, how to write, and how to do math, because education is more than just the 3 R's. It's about being a strong citizen, being involved in your community. And this is an example of what we're doing to support that endeavor long term. So let's talk a little bit about enrollment. We certainly see what is happening in our community. And I think folks are wondering how many of those children in those homes that are being built are coming to our schools. And this is just a snapshot in time. It's probably a little bit different today than it was on September 30th, but our overall enrollment has increased over time. Been relatively steady at Randolph Elementary School, as you can see there on the left. Byrd has increased 30 students, which is a pretty big surprise to many. Goochland Elementary School's gone up just a hair, but we've seen some increases at the high school as well. So we're up about 50 students overall, September 30th of 2022 to September 30th of 2021. So ultimately something that we're going to have to monitor and see how if this is a trend that continues, or is this just something that we're experiencing as a result of coming out of COVID. We do have a lot of students who are returning from homeschool and private school environments to be a part of our public schools. So we're going to have to monitor this and see what the future may hold there. Do want to spend a moment to talk about capital projects, because this community has given their trust to us as a school division for some pretty significant expenditures in our community. And we know that 85% of the voters said, yes, we feel that it's appropriate now to go to the public market and secure bonds when it comes to $60 million worth of school division projects and $36 million worth of county projects. And so we certainly don't want to, we do want to make sure that we follow through with that trust, and we do these projects very, very well. So this time last year, this was a major topic of conversation. And I'll tell you, we've come a long way in making really great decisions on this, and many things have manifested itself in completed projects. The parking lot in front of the high school is done. And so it's really been a great benefit to our community. It's a much safer experience. We added parking spots. Residents are able to get in and drop off their children a lot easier in the morning and pick them off in the afternoon. So it's been very, very positive. And so this is a great investment that is paying dividends time and time again with a safe environment. We're building the turn lane to head west on the Route 6. So we're making progress there. Substantial completion on the turn lane at the other end of Bulldog Way will be done by April. So a great investment by our community. Thank you to our community for making this happen. Certainly this has been very, very positive for everybody. And just another viewpoint, much safer experience for everybody who is accessing our campus. So the other major project that is really in an amazing phase right now, I'll share that today we sent bid documents to 8 pre-qualified bidders. We pre-qualified these bidders because we want this to be a quality project. Ultimately, we will need to go with the lowest bidder through a competitive procurement process, but we pre-qualified these bidders because we'll make sure that we get a quality project. Bids hit the street today. They'll be on the street for 30 days with a bid opening on November the 17th. So on November 17th, we'll know what the lowest bidder is, and then decisions will need to be made by both the school board and the board of supervisors about what the next steps are. So we're really at a very critical phase for this project and encourage everyone to stay tuned for what's next. So I wanted to show the public where we are with our current drawings, and our current footprint for the new building is a very simple design. You have a wing of the building where a lot of the core services will be, with your office, your food service, your cafeteria, and your gymnasium. That's on the right-hand side and it's depicted in the green and the salmon colors. And then the rest of the building is the academic wing. So it's a very simple footprint. We had to do some things from a geotechnical standpoint because of the footprint of the land that we're building on. But anyway, this is the floor plan of the facility. It's a 2-story design, so we wanted to go up so that we could save some footprint. But this is a picture of what the outside of the building most likely will look like. Very simple design, as you can tell. We do have bus traffic and car traffic that's separated. On the right-hand side, that would be the bus traffic. On the left-hand side would be the car traffic, and they would all enter through one door, kind of a common meeting area for students, regardless of the way that they get to school. And you can see that it is a 2-story design there, and we'd welcome students through that main door. As I said, it is a brick exterior. And ultimately, we want to make sure that this school was built with longevity, that it's flexible in design, that meets the needs of this community for the next 50+ years, while at the same time making sure that we are strong stewards of the fiscal dollar and that we are making sure that it's not extravagant in any way, and ultimately meets our community's needs for the future. So just a picture of the inside of the building. This is the depiction of the front office. And then this is when someone would walk out of the office into the main part of the building. The 2-story volume here with some pretty good outside light that's coming into the space. This is the cafeteria where you see the tables are. To the right, there's a gymnasium. To the far back right would be the cafeteria servery. Where that student is on the left-hand side, they're walking towards the academic wing. And there's another hallway towards the back of this drawing as well. So 2-story design. This is as the student is walking down the hallway. They can go up to the second floor using the stairs on the right-hand side. The left-hand part of those stairs is a place where we could have some students do a little bit of a performance or some small group work. We really tried to think about flexible design and using the space well into the future and having opportunities for students to collaborate, work together as a team, and be a part of the instructional unit. This is a picture of a performance space. As you can imagine, when we were looking at cost containment, when you build a stage or an auditorium that's used 3 or 4 times a year, that's a whole lot of square footage that adds cost and may not get you the value that we want. So we carved a space for a performance into the middle part of this building so we can have maybe a grade level performance, a ceremony or something like that. And the furniture would be flexible and we can move furniture in and out to be able to meet the needs of that space. So again, flexible in its design. Students who are walking on the second floor will be able to peek down into the heart of the building where we have our library. And so the library is typically the hub of the school when it comes to our elementary schools, and students, regardless of where they're walking in the building, would have the opportunity to be a part of what is taking place in the library. And this is the very end of the building. This is near the music room. It will have a dedicated music room and a dedicated art room. And again, you see a collaborative space here on the right-hand side. This is the very back of the building. So students would be walking into the cafeteria on the other side. On the right-hand side, we have a couple playgrounds, playground specifically for preschool students and playground specifically for our lower elementary students. But this is what it would look like on the back side. So I too encourage our community to stay in tune with what we're doing through social media, Facebook. We have an app as well, so check that out. But anyway, we want to make sure that we're sharing the information with our community, and we also have the chance to engage in two-way dialogue because ultimately this is our school division working to support this community and preparing our students to be future citizens in this community and beyond. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm thinking, so the bond was for, oh gosh, I hate these things. The bond was for a new school in Holland Hills. And that's what this is. It's not a redo of our current.
Correct. This is new construction on a
Okay.
new site. And this site is at the corner of Bulldog Way and Steeplechase. So it's at the north end of Bulldog Way.
And then the current Goochland Elementary School, what does that become?
Yes, Mr. Carpenter and I had this conversation last week, actually, is, talking about what the plans are for that. I know that there was a space study done by the county, I think in 17 or 18. So identifying what that space study entailed and who's going to arm wrestle for that space, quite honestly, because I think there'll be a lot of folks who want to use that space. And so that's something that the county and schools will have to collaborate on. Yeah. Well, I'll stick around in case anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Well, then again, thank you very much for taking your time tonight to come out. It means a lot to us to see the citizenry engaged. We put a lot of time and effort as your staff, as your elected officials in doing the best job we can. And when you look at and you see citizens who care what you're doing, who take the time to come to meetings or follow meetings, that does mean a lot. So thank you for taking your time to come out, to elected officials and staff as well. Appreciate it very much. We're here for questions and cookies.